We have some breaking news to discuss today as reports have come out from reliable reporters indicating that the Miami Heat are pursuing Terry Rozier and that Terry Rozier is wanting to come to Miami and that Miami is his preferred trade destination if he is dealt. So break down those reports as well as discuss some other reports from notable reporters highlighting that the Heat are seriously pursuing the Hornets guard. So stay tuned for all that in this episode, but a quick reminder, hit the subscribe button. We just hit 250 and 98% of you guys who are watching right now aren't subscribed. So if you aren't already, scroll down, hit that subscribe button as we're now pursuing 500 subs. And thank you guys again for your continued support. All right, let's get into the first topic of the day today, which is a major Terry Rozier report, major Terry Rozier update. I made a video a few days ago about reports coming out that the Miami Heat are interested in acquiring Terry Rozier, but this one dropped earlier today, and it's very interesting, and it lends to the fact and kind of to the credence and credibility that Rozier could be a future Miami Heat. So let's break down the first one. So report, Terry Rozier, a combo guard having a career year, according to Jake Fisher, prefers to be traded to the Miami Heat prior to the trade deadline. Now I'm going to get into the stats, discuss the fit. Again, we did it in a few videos ago, but it seems like Terry Rozier himself is coming out and saying that he wants to join the Miami Heat if he is traded. He wants to join the Heat culture. And of course, Terry Rozier is having an absolutely great season, the best of his career, and wants to join a team that has the potential to win a championship. And of course, the Miami Heat are that. So according to what Jake Fisher said, here's a direct quote from the article. And the direct quote from the article says that Rozier's strong play, quote, has made the combo guard a more viable trade candidate than ever at his $24 million average annual salary, with a known preference in joining the Heat, league sources tell Yahoo Sports. Now, again, this is very interesting. So Terry Rozier, he doesn't provide much in the defensive end, but he gives a huge bolster to scoring. He's facilitated a lot better this year. He shot a lot better this year than he has in the past. And it just seems like a pretty decent fit for the Miami Heat. But I don't know, and I said this in the prior video, I don't know if this puts them over the top necessarily. And I want to see what you all think in the comment section. Rozier is such an interesting one, and it's great that he wants to continue to play, or wants to play for the Miami Heat if these reports tend to be true. But when you're looking at his stats here, he's 29 years old, so he's still in his prime, averaging 24 points per game, increasing his assist count to his career high at 7 assists. Like, he's a proper starting point guard in this league this season. And I think that he would ultimately be the starter for the Miami Heat. We know that they're shopping Kyle Lowry. We'll probably have another video dropping on that at some point. But it's very, very interesting, especially if they're shopping Kyle Lowry. And we'll discuss this in a future video. But Terry Rozier could slide into that starting point guard spot. And then you have Rozier, you have Hero, you have Jaime Jaquez, you have Jimmy Butler, you have Bam. And then you have depth pieces, Caleb Martin, all these guys. It could work very well. And the big thing with Rozier is he has turned around his facilitating and turned into one of a very solid facilitator on a Charlotte Hornets team that doesn't have too many weapons aside from LaMelo Ball. And if you're the Hornets and you kind of want to continue to transition into, I guess, a new era to a degree of Hornets basketball, then moving on from Rozier, who's 29 and doesn't necessarily line up with the timeline of Brandon Miller and LaMelo Ball, it could make a lot of sense depending on what assets you get back. But Terry Rozier could be a very interesting fit. The biggest thing here is that he doesn't provide much on the defensive side of things, but if you're comparing a guy like Terry Rozier to Zach LaVine, to even Donovan Mitchell to a degree, DeJounte Murray, you can make an argument based on the price, and this, you suspect Rozier is the cheapest out of those guys I just mentioned. It's going to be very interesting to see if they maybe pull the trigger on this and have him as the one guy who could take them over the top and put them into potential championship level category, because again, Rozier, he hasn't been an all-NBA guy, hasn't been an all-star, but this season he's playing at an all-star level and has finally turned it around. And if you bring him in with Erik Spoelstra, you bring him in and get him to work on his defense a little bit, he could fit into this Heat culture, and it's clear, and he clearly wants to work with this team and get in to that Heat culture. Again, the biggest downside is he is averaging a steal, but his defense, he's a pretty small guard, an undersized guard, so his defense isn't going to be the best. But when you're coming from Kyle Lowry anyway, I mean, we have enough defensive weapons in theory to help kind of hide him to a degree. But again, when you're looking at a guard like this, I think he would be a very good fit, especially when compared to Zach LaVine, Donovan Mitchell's on another stratosphere here, and then DeJounte Murray, which could work as well. DeJounte Murray's in theory a better defender, but I don't know. Let me know in the comments, out of those players I mentioned, those four, LaVine, Mitchell, DeJounte, and Terry Rozier, given the packages, who would you want the most? I think you can make a case for Rozier. And when you're looking at what it could kind of take to give up, we don't really know. This was an article from Zach Lowe, and he was once again reporting that and suggesting that Miami trade for Terry Rozier. This was a couple days ago now, so the reports are continuing to escalate. And he basically says the reason that he likes Rozier to the Heat is he doesn't know if Kyle Lowry has run its course, but it's a $29 million expiring contract. And the thing that I think Miami just really needs to do is make another run like they did last year. Rozier. They need a guy who can pop off for 25 points, along with Hero, Bam, all these guys averaging 24 a game, proven late game shot maker. Not going to average 24 a game on a good team like the Miami Heat, but he needs to slide into a secondary, third, fourth kind of role. I don't know. I think that's kind of an interesting fit, third, fourth kind of role. So again, he wouldn't average 24 a game with the Miami Heat, but he can take that facilitating kind of gains that he's made the past season, the past offseason, and elevate everyone else on the Miami Heat while also being able to pop off in the late game and putting up maybe 16, 17 points a game would be plenty for the Miami Heat, especially compared to Kyle Lowry, who has seemingly run his course as a Miami Heat player and as a Miami Heat. So let me know in the comments your thoughts on that. Tons of reports, tons of rumblings about it. And again, when you're looking at Rozier, he's been super impressive. 24, 7, and 3, 1.1 steals. He's been efficient, all career high at 29 years old. And would you guys like to see Scary Terry in South Beach? And also leave in the comments a prediction of what a package could be. Are you willing to give up a guy like... It wouldn't probably be Tyler Hero. Would you be willing to give up one first-round pick? Would you be willing to give up potentially a couple of first-round picks? Obviously, maybe Jovic in a first-round pick. Would you be willing to give up some of the young guys? Obviously, Hero and Jaime Jaquez are going to be untouchables. But would you be willing to give up some of these guys? Maybe include Kyle Lowry to match salaries. Like, all these different things depend on what the package will be. But I think ultimately, when you look at the package, a couple of picks, maybe throw in Kyle Lowry. I don't know. Or maybe they want to keep Kyle Lowry, have him as the bench point guard. It's going to be very interesting to see. Now, speaking of interesting trades, this trade was wild, and I saw this in an article. I just wanted to throw this in there for all of us Miami Heat fans, and it's a reason that we got blessed with Jaime Jaquez Jr. It's kind of an article saying the most underrated moves of the past 15, I don't know if it was 15 years, whatever it was, but this was when the Miami Heat traded KZ Okpala, you guys might remember it, to the Oklahoma City Thunder for a second-round pick. I just wanted to give highlights to this team, and while we're in trade talks and kind of analyzing new future trades as the trade deadline approaches, it's interesting to discuss trades that our GM has done, Pat Riley. And this one was interesting. I mean, you might be thinking this trade meant nothing, but the big stuff is underneath the surface. The real stuff, of course, Okpala for the second rounder is just the icing. The real stuff is that the Thunder and Heat agreed to trade the timing and protections of the pick, which ultimately led to the Thunder owning a lot of future first-round picks and gave Miami the ability to trade their 2023 pick. But the Heat didn't trade it. They kept it, and then they drafted Jaime Jaquez Jr. with the 18th overall pick. It was probably been one of the best, if not the best rookie, or one of the best rookies in that class alongside some of the other guys like Victor Wembanyama and stuff. So that is interesting, and the Thompsons, of course. But that's very interesting, and it goes to show that I have full faith in Pat Riley. All these little trades are going to have come back to help them, and haven't come back to hurt them. And if you make a trade like this, no matter what Pat Riley decides to do, I'm kind of all in. I'm all in on this deal. And again, with Terry Rozier, I kind of just threw the Jaime Jaquez thing in there because it's an interesting stat. With Terry Rozier, you're getting a very valuable score. Does he elevate you enough to win a championship? That is the question, and that is why I don't know if Pat Riley is going to do this deal. He might swing for the fences more with Donovan Mitchell. He might go for a Zach LaVine type, bit more of an established scorer who's done it for more than just one season. Maybe he goes for DeJounte Murray because he has the defensive upside and kind of we're buying into that Heat culture more. I don't know. What I do know is that it's going to be a wild, wild trade deadline, and we're going to have you covered for all the way here on Heat Digest. So make sure to hit that subscribe button. Thank you guys for watching.